It is Cloud Kingdom, and starting to the top right of the map, we have the StarTale player. He is
StarTale Bomber.
Starting to the bottom left, though, is his opponent, the Blue Terran player for the MVP team. It is
MVP King.
The Commander.
By the way, the whole three-way tie situation, of course, only occurs if Mana loses the last map to Jagchi. This is something that we pointed out earlier.
Yeah.
Mana still has his own fate is in his hands, so even if Keen would now win this, then Mana would have to lose against Jagchi in order to make this three-way tie happen.
Yep. And all of things like this occur because if someone ever goes 0-3 in the group, it kind of sets everything up to finish up nicely, because that's why Mana is in a good position with his early lead, and he beat 2 players already. And so that's why this group just kind of looks like Jagchi is, obviously he's out, but this group looks like pretty finalized.
Right now it's going to be pretty... This is actually a cool map for Terran versus Terran. I really like this a lot because there's so much stuff that you can pull off, especially drop play can be really effective with run-bys, whatever you want to choose. This is an awesome map. I really like Cloud Kingdom a lot. At first, when it was introduced to the map pool, I was a little bit skeptical, but it's actually a great map. It's really nice.
I like... the one reason I like this map, for example, better than Daybreak for this matchup is that you have no real area where you have just an insane choke point where people are going to just never fight each other, and then you get into that battlecruiser moment. Yeah, those kind of games can be cool too, but you don't have to have that.
He lifts the supply depot and forces the SCV to do the detour. That was actually like really funny. He lifts it and not like, well, actually, I don't have a wall.
Yeah.
And here's the gas.
Gas really quick right after that
gas.
And if he doesn't see it, he actually pieces out, tries to save his SCV. Not only does he not see the gas, but he loses the SCV.
Yeah. And this would really fake him out here. Bomber now does have the scouting information that's going to be an expansion, but he does not know that there's a double gas this early.
Bomber has experience with hidden third command centers. In fact, doing that against Mana in his previous game. And because Keen has not shown gas, Bomber is worried that there's a potential for a fast third command center in the main base, for example. Oh, actually, he saw one gas. He did not see the second one, though. And Bomber himself, man, 2 sets in a row, taking a fast third. This time it's not, you know, for example, hidden at an actual expansion where you can start mining from it right away. A little bit safer.
Yeah, that's something that he has really done quite a lot. I mean, he's really banking on his economy right now, whereas Keen, once again, the same style that we talked about in the last matches, he really likes to be a little more aggressive in these games. It's not only in the matchup against Terran, but basically in every single matchup that he plays.
Yeah. Well, Keen does have some timings now with his faster gas to put pressure on Bomber with Banshees, for example. And Bomber will not have the tech required necessarily to answer for this, as he's now adding 2 additional barracks. But does not have gas for Stim. He's just now taking his first refinery. He's going to need either Stim or Vikings to deal with Cloak Banshees, and he's going to need Stim, Marines, and Perfect Scans without an eBay, which is something he's going to add, of course, a little bit later, but he just had to sink all these resources into the command center, puts them very behind.
I'm really interested to see how exactly Bomber is going to pull off his defense. I mean, he's really experienced with this, and if you play builds like this in Terran versus Terran, you know that at some point you will definitely have to face the Banshees. So we saw in the recent games that we have that Banshees, even though you have the missile turrets and the Viking out, can do so much damage if you're not careful, if you waste your scans. So let's see how Bomber is going to deal with this threat, because Keen is now basically done with the starport. Oh, he's getting a Viking here, actually. Where is this? Is he going for this tank build once again that we've seen him do already? Yeah, apparently he's doing the same thing.
Yeah, he definitely is. And this is actually his first scout as well with the Hellion. So he doesn't know what his opponent is doing right now. Now he's like, oh, okay. But it's kind of funny because this type of build basically directly counters someone who goes for a fast third command center. And that's what's going to happen here. Keen is going to move out in the same way they did last time. And Bomber is going to struggle to hold to this one bunker. He's going to try to repair that while desperately trying to get his own siege mode out.
You know, this is a bit weird to me because, I mean, Bomber watched those games. He saw that. And it was exactly the same scenario. It was the same map. So I'm really a little bit weirded out that he does not scan for this, like specifically. Because, I don't know. I mean, this is exactly the same build.
Exactly the same build. It's the one siege tank, siege timing build, man. It's a sick pressure play. And before moving out, Keen scanned the main, saw the factory timing, which is now halfway done. And he's like, oh, no way he's going to be able to hold this pressure without major losses. So he's going out for it. He's denied scouting of his opponent as well, so Bomber has no additional preparations.
Chakchi had such a tough time defending against this, and now Bomber will be in exactly the same position. How do you defend without having siege tanks on your own?
You can't, man. I mean, you can try. You have to pull SCVs, and you have to be quick about, making a mistake here, not only losing one Marine, but making the bunker in his opponent's bunker's range. And this is exactly how you do it, man. You pull your SCVs, you go at the right timing, and you rip the siege tank down, kills the Viking as well. Great hold by Bomber. This puts him in a great position. Oh my god.
Well, I ask and he delivers. This is actually a pretty good point to just move out before the second siege tank is there.
You do, man. And if you do not hesitate and you see your opponent's army size, you can do that. Huge mistake by Keen losing a few Marines and losing the bunker the way he did.
I didn't even realize how many units Bomber had. I mean, I saw him building this. I just focused too much on Keen here. I did not realize that he already had such a great army. And he did the right decision. He was really confident that he could just pull his SCVs, move out, take down the first tanks. And as long as Keen doesn't have those 2-3 tanks in position, that's actually exactly what he needs to do.
Yep.
That is really cool.
The worker count, though, not too much in Bomber's favor. The extra mule is the most important thing. He's actually moving his third Commancer down into a disaster because the second wave of Keen is coming through here. Keen does have a third Commancer on the way, so he's not all in at this point, but he really is committing a lot to this pressure. And if this fails hard again, then he is going to be in a really tough position compared to Bomber, who will now have the same tech as him. And is going to be ahead in upgrades. Oh, he needs to lift that.
Yeah, even with the lift, he needs to be very careful. He might actually just lose it. Where are the SCVs?
But the Marines come down here.
Yeah. The Marines come in, but now he still needs to repair. It's already burning. Bomber is in the supply lead, roughly 20 supply ahead of his opponent, and this third base, of course, really significant right now. If he can put it on the low ground and defend it, this would help him so much. We have the third command center for Keen now being established as well.
He's going for a drop.
Yeah, the drop in the main base, that could do damage. Bomber really needs to pay attention to his unit splitting.
Yeah, he does, and you know, this drop doesn't do a whole lot. In fact, he's going to be chased out here with the medevac. The Marines are not going to survive. But just a little bit of pressure play here by Keen continued. The Bomber still has not been able to mine from this third commander. Keen is not in a terrible position. Needs to make sure he gets his tanks back, which he does. He pulls back because if Bomber saw that for a second, he was surrounded and killed it.
On the other hand, the count in Medivacs a little bit in Bomber's favor, not by too much though. He has a problem with the siege tank count, which is of course because Keen had this the factory so much earlier.
He is he's doubling the Marine count though, and he's got the better Marine upgrades.
The Marine count is pretty cool, and he has the +1 attack upgrade already. The +1 armor has been started. He's a little bit later with the rest of his upgrades, but that will even up. And his economy with the earlier third mule is of course decent. He's also saturating his third base earlier than Bomber is. Earlier than Keen is.
Yeah, Keen is... It's not going to be vulnerable to a stem timing attack or anything like that with this research being behind, but the upgrades for Marines are going to be important. Bomber also starts +1 for siege tanks first, and he's got that very important third and fourth refinery going, or fifth and sixth, excuse me, going down to the third base. Is going to allow him the extra gas to catch up in siege tank production. Now with the army he's got on the map, Keen is not going to be able to hold this orbital here. He's going to try, and the thing is, if he brings all of his units to hold this, the Bomber can actually go around the other side. This is a very scary moment for Keen, who has to split his tanks. He has to make sure they're always sieged.
The dropship was just spotted by the supply depot that has been started, so that's definitely something that he's already aware of. He sends a few Marines over to his third base, not going to be enough though.
And the problem is he needs more than that because he can just go right into the main.
He moves down at the third base of his opponent, and the siege tanks are gone.
This
and now
is exactly what
he's
I mean,
sieging
man.
his own tanks, and he dies. He kills the third. Really well done by Bomber.
Yeah, Keen was distracted and he knew it, and he just went for it. This is actually really cool. Now he's going to elevate into the main and start working at these production facilities. A big stem by Keen, but it's not going to be very useful here.
No, that's horrible for the MVP player. Bomber in a great position here. How much can he actually kill? The supply, 30 supply advantage for Bomber right now. The Marines are taken out. He even saves his dropships. Well, 2 of them. The third medivac dies, but the positioner for Bomber is really a good one right now. He has the harvester lead. He has the better economy. Exactly, and he has the third base. A huge advantage here.
Keen now basically has to pull SCVs in attack or accept defeat because he's not going to be able to make this counterattack work without SCV pull. And even if he had the SCV pull, it's hard to say if he could pull it off. Doing a little drop play like this is really nice as well. But the Sensor Tower spots that this is coming. This means that Bomber will move all of his tanks ready to defend.
And Keen is now moving across the map. He knows exactly what's going on here. He has also... Bomber has the better Harvester, the better Siege tank count as well. Harvester throws too. Well, that's not really significant at this point.
Yeah.
And now just look at how the supply works out for Bomber. He has a huge bank compared to Keen. He's already in a 20 supply lead. He has better upgrades. He is looking at just such a great position.
He does. Keen decided to move out for the counterattack. As soon as the Sensor Tower was finished, he scanned forward and he was like, nope, can't make this work. Didn't bring the SCVs, and now he's just kind of hoping to catch up, hoping his opponent makes a critical mistake that allows him to get back into this game.
And with the Sensor Turret, it's going to be so hard for Keen to actually force such an engagement.
Exactly.
So it's basically Bomber who decides when to move out, when to start to attack. Even the Marine that tries to take the Zalnaga Watchtower has been spotted immediately and killed. But yeah, +3 attack upgrade has been started. Armor a little bit later than Keen's, but now Bomber even with the 4th base that he starts.
He is, he's trying to find an opening. He's sending one Marine around on the left side, where the Sensor Tower, of course, has a little bit of space, but it's the minimum area, and these two armies are going to miss each other. Keen just barely sees the army of Bomber now to the south. Well, actually, he didn't.
There are siege tanks at the 3rd, though.
He barely didn't see it.
I think he
now he knows because he's pulling his command center back.
Yeah, he must have seen it. Now he moves in. On the other hand, we still have siege tanks at the 3rd base of Bomber, so even if Keen decides to move in, it wouldn't be the most cost-efficient bait. Ha! Bomber actually stimming, trying to run into takedown.
Well, we'll get the SCVs and maybe even the 3rd anyways, because it just came back at the worst possible moment.
Unbelievable. Best timing for Bomber ever. He takes down the 3rd, he takes down all the SCVs, and now he finds himself in the best position ever. It's a wedge between the natural and the 3rd and the army of Keen. Keen is losing everything here. He's trying to go for a base race scenario, but it's already way too late, in my opinion.
Way too late. The Sensor Tower says everything. It shows every direction that Keen moves in, allowing Bomber to reposition his tanks appropriately. There's another step. He's trying to break up the ramp, but this just takes too much time. There's too many siege tanks. GG!
The game is over, and so is this group, ladies and gentlemen. Bomber is the 1st place in Group A of the up and downs. He is in Code S right now, and so is Mouse Sports Mana. Even if Mana would lose to Jakji, he would be tied with Keen and he would be tied with Hyun. He won against both players already, so Mana is now in Code S.
Tough loss here for Keen. You know, a lot of things going wrong in this game that were out of his control, but his push was not as well executed as it could have been, and Bomber defended. He did not hesitate. He pulled the SCVs when there was only one tank. He knew exactly what to do.
And right now we have, of course, Hyun, Jakji, and Keen. They are all in Code A. All of them. The first day is therefore, but yeah, really a lot of luck as well for Mama here.
Yeah, you know, the attack of the 3rd command center the 2nd time especially was like, well, what are you supposed to do? You couldn't see it.
I really feel I have to rephrase this though, because the last game, of course, did not end in favor of Bomber because he was lucky, but he played really, really well. It was just the timing at the 3rd base. On the other hand, if we are honest about it, it didn't really matter all that much. Even if the 3rd would have already been in position, with
he would have still killed it.
Exactly, with the stim that he used. So he was maybe a little bit lucky that Keen didn't leave it on the high ground, but still the position for him was so great, and Keen just completely out on the open, out on the map, could not retreat to defend because he knew he had no chance at the choke point position. Tried to go for a base trade because that was the only chance that he had, but at this point you already knew that he most likely would not be able to pull it off.
Exactly. There was no way there, and he just outplayed him after he held the first attack. You know, he took a risk with the 3rd command center, and then the risk paid off. You know, that's kind of how the game started to go into his favor. Then he just flawlessly transitioned through the mid and the final stages of the game.
We're having a quick look at today's results, of course, right now. That's what we the standings in the group. Here we go. Keen with 2-2, Mana with 2 wins and 1 loss. He's in Code S. The last game against Jakji is not needed. And advancing together with him is, of course, the 1st in the group. It is StarTail Bomber with a 3-1 record here.
Bomber looking good today. Anyone who had doubts about what he's been up to recently had their questions answered.
Keen and Hyun were close, but not close enough. Though, yeah, we have a foreigner advancing into Codes.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. That's actually pretty cool.
And, you know, he did it taking out 4 other amazing players. Obviously didn't have to play against Jakshi, but he's come out of a tough group, in fact, and that says a lot.
It was really a tough group, and we have another foreigner, of course, playing, I think, in Group C, Thorzane, but Thorzane has been sick the last few days. I'm not quite sure if he has recovered enough to actually play his group. As far as I know, he was not able to train a lot these days. It would be really unfortunate if he couldn't participate in the group, but even if he does, being sick before you have to actually play your matches and you can't practice that much is, of course, something that's going to affect you quite a bit.
Yeah, there's also a typhoon coming to Korea tomorrow.
I heard about that today.
Yeah, and
the schools are closed, aren't they?
Yeah, a lot of them are. It's apparently going to be one of the biggest storms that's hit in quite some time, and you know, you could feel the air actually today outside. It was quite like there was a storm coming.
But guys, don't worry. Wolf and I, we're hardcore. We're gonna
be here.
Fight our way to the studio. No typhoon will prevent me from casting these matches.
Exactly. The only thing I mentioned this for is there are a lot of players traveling right now, coming back from MLG, and so hopefully a lot of travel is not affected by this. Let's take a look at tomorrow's lineup of players. It's going to be starting things out with Sniper, Puzzle, and Gumiho, and then Thorzane, Ace, and Hack.
Look at that, he's actually in Group B. I thought he was in Group C, but we might see him tomorrow. I hope that he's well again. Yeah, a lot of StarCraft players here. 2 of them. Today we saw Bomber advance. Maybe tomorrow it's going to be Ace and Hack. We'll find out. Gumiho, of course, one of the players that most people will think is going to advance here because he just played so well in the recent past.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good assumption to have, but this is going to be a pretty cool little group of players. I'm excited.
Yep.
I'm pretty happy. It's going to be a 6-player group, so make sure that if you have plans to watch with your friends tomorrow, or whether you're going to BarCraft or not, you bring a lot of food, a lot of drinks, because it's going to be a long one. Make sure to tune in and check it all out. You can get more details of these broadcasts by following GOMTV on Twitter. You can follow myself at ProxyWolf and Calder at Calder with KH.
And I think this closes it basically for today. So we have a pretty fast group. The last game was not needed, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the show. And of course, as Wolf already mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow with the GSL up and down matches, group number B. See you tomorrow.